Today on Let's Talk Boundaries, you're going to meet a remarkable woman, personal chef and published author, who embodies resilience and creativity in every aspect of her life. Join us as we explore the theme, When Quitting is Not an Option, as we delve into her journey, uncovering the challenges she's faced and the unwavering determination that has driven her to succeed. Well, hello, my beautiful people. This is Pamela Bird, your boundary coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we? Our title today is When Quitting is Not an Option. If there's anybody I know that's not a quitter, it's Miss Sonya King. Miss Sonya King is a chef. She's a personal chef, and Sonya is going to tell you a little bit more about herself as we go on, but she is from Gary, Indiana, and she and her mom moved here. Oh, that's such a story, and you're going to find out more about that when you find out more about her book. And Sonya's book is Chef Where's Dinner? And it's my journey back to the kitchen. Journeying back from somewhere. Where's she journeying back from? Where's she going to? And what's the next destination for Sonya? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce you to Miss Sonya King. Sonya, welcome. So glad you could join me tonight.
Thank you so much, Pam, for having me. I was honored when you asked me, would I be on your podcast? Because I hold you in such high esteem, and you're just so wonderful, such a wonderful sisterpreneur. And I was like, oh my gosh, she wants me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm going to have you, because sisterpreneurs, a lot of women that I've met that are entrepreneurs or sisterpreneurs have been because of you, because of your gift of connecting people together. But there's more to that, because I know that in your book, you talked a lot about how you came to do the things that you're doing and how much it means to you because of what you do. So tell us a little bit. It can be about your personal chef, but with King Creations, PCS, but also just why you chose to do the things that you do.
Well, first of all, I have to give, pay homage and respect, honor to my grandmother, because she is the reason, or God used her as a tool, a vessel, to point me in the direction to become a sisterpreneur. I didn't even know it, because my grandmother had a hair salon in her basement, and she was a wonderful cook and baker and all that stuff. And, so I was in the kitchen a lot of times. So fast forward in my 20s, I was trying to help my kid's dad, we were married at the time, to make ends meet. So what way to do it is to use these hands that God gave me to bless people with my creations with a K. My pastor's wife, she also planted that seed. I love her to pieces. She said, hey, when my kids were little and I was trying to help make ends meet with pastor, this is before they were pastor and first lady, she said, I would make meals from home. So, I wasn't doing meals at the time. I just decided, hey, let me do cakes, because that was me. I was the cake lady, right? And so it just went on from there. I went to cake decorating classes and learned my craft, improved my creations, and made my cakes had more value to it. So that's when King Creations was born, back when I was in my 20s.
Wow.
And so, later on over the years, somebody said, hey, why don't you become a chef? Why don't you go to culinary school? I didn't see myself doing that, because I just didn't feel like that was for me. And hearing a lot of people say they're walking in their gift. And I'm like, I wonder what's my gift? I just didn't know what my gift was. So now I'm in my 30s and I'm at church, and pastor is saying, everybody, I want you to take this test, spiritual gift discovery test. And lo and behold, after taking the test, I found out that I was actually in my gift, which was hospitality.
Yes.
Well, that's
yes.
one of the gifts, okay? But I was just amazed. Hospitality and teaching. And I love teaching people how to cook, bake, cake decorate, and all that. So I was like, just had goosebumps knowing that I was in it. I just wasn't getting paid for it like these people were saying they were. I mean, I got paid for people buying my product or whatever, but this was different. It was different. It was a game changer for me. So time went on, and somebody referred me to a nonprofit organization for kids, teens, and they said, hey, they need somebody to teach how to, cook, bake, and, whatever you want to do. And I was like, okay, that was extra money and stuff. And so it was there that man kept saying, the director of the organization kept saying, well, you're the chef. You're the chef of the center. You're the chef of the center. So it was these seeds just being planted, just planted. And finally, I said, yeah, let me go ahead and look into this culinary thing, this culinary school. I wanted to go basically just to get the degree, I'm sorry, the diploma for the baking and pastry side because I was a cake decorating teacher. And I enjoyed the journey so much that I decided to stay in for the duration and get a degree. So I have a dual degree actually.
Well, let me just stop you for a second. This is
Yeah.
good. This is so good. I don't think you even realize what you just said and how powerful it was,
Mhm.
that you weren't sure what your purpose was, be walking your purpose. You didn't know what your purpose was. And that can be so frustrating.
Mhm.
And then when you took the gift assessment, it was no new knowledge to you, it was confirmation.
Yes.
And when then, because one of the things I do, I work with a lot of my clients on identifying their spiritual gifts, for discovering their spiritual gifts. And here's the interesting thing that happens with that. Once they identify their spiritual gifts, all of a sudden the Holy Spirit starts to reveal confirmation and times when they've actually used that gift.
Mhm.
And the fact that your pastor and other people were saying, you're the chef, that's the power of the spoken word, because they were speaking it into existence in your life.
Yes.
And the other thing about, for those of you who may not, who you might be in the position that Chef Sonya was in, just being frustrated, not knowing what your purpose is. That's one thing you can do, is you can take your spiritual gift assessment. But the other thing is recognize the things that you do that you love to do, and it's like a knee jerk. You just do it. Nobody has to talk you into doing it. They don't have to coerce you or anything. You love doing it, so you just do it automatically. And that's, Sonia, what you were doing. You were doing something so unconsciously that you absolutely loved, and you didn't even have to get paid for it, but you did it. And those are the clues or the cues as far as what your gift is. But now it's time to start making some money, because after all, we are sisterpreneurs. So
Yes.
go ahead.
So, I went in culinary school. You go through the journey of learning different things. So I was getting a dual degree in the hot food side, which I know how to cook too. Okay, so the hot food side as well as the baking and pastry. But I had to go through all of the formalities. Why do you cook the way you do? Why do you make that bechamel and
Mm.
then you change it to make a mornay with the cheese sauce, aka for the macaroni, right? I mean, it was just wonderful because I remember the first day or two of skills class, and we're learning these things, and I was like, wait a minute, I already know this stuff. And then the chef was like, yes, most of y'all probably do know this stuff, but now you're going to learn why you do things this way. And man, again, goosebumps, just to know that terminology, to be able to break it down to people and help them to understand. And I do it in a way, when people book me for classes, I do it in a fun way because I'm a hashtag fun chef. I like to make people have fun. I know a lot of people, when they see me with the chef jacket, they just, get a little intimidated, but I never want anybody to feel that way. And they really enjoy, taking my classes whenever I have a class for entertainment, if people want a chef to entertain them or whatever. It was great. And I decided, hey, now with the baking part, I think I want to do meal prep because I was working for an establishment called Super Suppers.
Hmm.
That was back in the early 2000s. And I said, I think I want to become a personal chef. I think that's pretty cool, to be able to make meals for people because there are a lot of celebrities, if you will, that have personal chefs. So I like that idea of going into people's homes, making the meals, labeling them, have them ready. So all they have to do is just pull it out of the freezer and just cook it per the instructions that I have. I mean, how cool is that? I put the love in there, help. people get time back into their lives. Because not
Yeah.
everybody has that kind of time to do that.
No, no. You have a YouTube channel, and it's called King Creations PCS. And you and I have done a couple shows. I've been a guest on your show where we've made a couple of dishes. And the one thing I think I remember the most is sweet potato chili. Is
Yes.
that we made? Oh God, that
Yeah.
was so good. And we were on camera and right there, and you had me taste it. I burned my mouth so bad. It was so hot, but I couldn't wait. It was so good. I couldn't wait to taste it, but it was so good. And you often have sisterpreneurs on your shows on YouTube, and they help you to cook. And the good thing about what you do is you teach us tips that we don't know. It's kind of like you said, I know how to cook these things. That's confirmation. But why? Why do I do this? The one thing that you said to me, and I remember, I'll never forget, you said, there's different seasonings that you use, but make sure your seasonings are not outdated. That, because you know what? Seasons can sit in the cabinet for years. And then you find a recipe, go, oh, I want to make that. And then you go and you make it. And then, oh my God, why doesn't that taste like the recipe? I followed the recipe to the T. Why doesn't it taste like that? It's because the spices weren't very good. They were outdated. So that's one of the things. And you've taught me so many other things about cooking. Just little tidbits on your show really helps me to, and I love to cook. So listening to those really helped to enhance my own cooking skills. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm. So tell me about your journey, because you are an excellent chef. One of the things, and Sonya hasn't got to it, I probably interrupt her on this, but her sweets, she does a lot of sweets, and I'm talking like popcorn. She came up with this idea to do a variety of popcorn flavors. And what she even does with her sisterpreneurs is she gives them an opportunity to name a flavor when they request a flavor combination. And so when you see her different combinations, you'll see someone's name on it, and that's a friend. And the sisterpreneur, she has named it after them. But you do that, but you also do desserts and candies, chocolates. And one of my favorite is your pecan clusters, caramel pecan clusters. I love them, and I order them every year. So I, tell us a little how you got into doing that.
Okay, because I know some people wonder, are you still doing meals? Yes, I do meals, but on request now, because bringing God back into this, he's never gone anywhere, first of all. I had a business coaching session with somebody, and she told me, what makes you the most money? I told her, I said, it's my candy and my popcorn. That it's I can knock that out just like that. And she said, that's what you need to do.
Mm.
And I could see the joy in that. Now, don't get me wrong, I had joy in making meals, knowing that people get a chance to have a meal instead of going to the store and getting those frozen meals that you don't know what's in it. So I looked at my business plan because she said, I want you to get your business plan. We got to get this together and blah, blah, blah. And I looked at my business plan and I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, you're bringing me back to where I was. Sometimes we stray. Sometimes we
Mm.
stray because when I went to culinary school, remember, I went because I wanted to get that diploma in baking and pastry. So I'm back in baking and pastry, which is what I went to culinary school for. But she said to change my website. And if people want to get meals, they can hit me up and say, hey, I want some meals or something like that. So my whole website has been changed, and it just basically focuses on the popcorn and the candy.
When minds come together, it's amazing what you can come up with. And I think that's what you found out when you were working with a lot of networking, a lot of women through networking. So tell us a little more about that.
Many years ago, I used to be an event planner. I went to event planning school, and my teacher, she told all of us, if you are not networking, you're not working. And I was like, huh, okay. So I mean that stayed in my head. And so I reached out to the CEO of this wonderful organization called Experience Connections because I was, still in the, early stages of being a personal chef. And I saw some success in my business. But when I got into networking, I mean, full speed ahead, that's when it happened. It happened. So it's a ministry for me. I love being able to connect other sisterpreneurs. As Bonnie Ross Parker, the founder of the organization, says, connect people with the people they need to be connected with. And so it just resonates with me to be able to do that. And I just love when it's not, let me say this because I don't want people to think, oh, it's just all about her. No, I love that the Lord uses me as a vessel to be able to help bless other people. So when it happens for them in their business, things like, oh my gosh, if it wasn't for Chef Sonya or something like that. And I'm like, thank him. Thank him.
Mm-hmm.
I just love knowing that he helped somebody else by using me. It's never about me getting the glory, you know. So
Well,
it's yes.
I was going to say the thing about it is that it's you reap what you sow.
Mhm.
And you've sown into so many people's lives, and you are getting blessed because of it. And blessing doesn't always come financially. Not that it's not coming for you financially, but it comes in so many other ways. And
Mhm.
those are things that God does when you choose to be the vessel that from which His blessings flow. So, and I know I've done a lot of work with the people that you've connected me with through networking. My first book I published
Yeah.
from that, a part of the networking group was Mary, right? And Mary is the one that edited my book for me, and she coached me through that. Mary Marvella. So there's so many things that you help people with just by being a part of this large network that you are an integral part of as a leader.
Mhm.
So I think it's interesting. And in your book, you talk a lot about the different women. So give me your definition of sisterpreneur.
It's basically a businesswoman who's an entrepreneur. And I like the name of saying sisterpreneur as opposed to businesswoman. That was just me. So I hope that answered your question.
Well, it does, because the way that you treat them is like sisters.
Hmm.
So that makes them sisterpreneurs. I don't care what, race, creed, or color, whatever it is, you welcome everyone, you embrace them with open arms, and that makes them a sister to you. And you treat them as such. And that's why they're sisterpreneurs.
Yes.
I do believe. Now, one of the things we were talking about, the title was when giving up is when quitting is not an option. So when I say that to you in your life, the things that you've been through, tell me about how quitting is not an option. Because as I read your book, there's so many trials and tribulations that you've gone through, your family, you and your mom. Bless your mom, bless your mom. I know how close you and your mom are, and I just think it's a beautiful thing. And so you guys been through a lot, but you never quit. And when we think of options that we have, quitting is not one for you. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, so let's start with when my mother and I first moved from Gary, Indiana to Atlanta, Georgia when I was 16. It was actually my sweet 16 birthday gift. She asked me, hey, do you want to move to Atlanta? And I was like, yeah, because I was going through some things as a teenager in high school, some bullying and things. I don't really want to get into that part because this is
Right.
supposed to be a happy setting.
Right. Right.
And so I was like, I couldn't wait to get out of Gary. First of all, there was nothing in Gary other than my family. My grandmother, she was the reason why we were there. I was like, let's go. Let's go. There's nothing in Gary now, still either, especially since my grandmother's gone. Have no reason to go back to Gary. We moved here. My grandmother said, okay, y'all will be back in 2 weeks. That was her thing. In 2 weeks, she believed that we weren't going to, it was a big city compared to Gary, and, we'll be back. So I remember we were staying at a hotel, the Claremont Motor Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was Roach City. Now,
Mm-hmm.
my grandmother didn't have any pests in her house. So to come here, you talking about a reality check to see that many roaches, even though they called themselves having, fumigated the place. And one or two roaches is too much for me, okay? And so it didn't make it. We didn't click that fast. So we went from the motel to stay with our cousin, and sadly, my cousin's boyfriend, when my mother had given him the rent money, our portion of the rent money, it didn't make it to our cousin. So she believed him over us when he said that, oh, they didn't give it to us. and we got put out when it was, I think it was October. We got put out in October. And she told us when we first, before we moved here, oh, it doesn't get cold in Atlanta. Well, honey, have y'all been looking at the weather recently? We've had some snow over the weekend, okay? So we just came in jackets. If it wasn't for the homeless shelters, we were able to get, warm coats and things. So we became homeless. You heard me say homeless shelters. We became homeless. And I remember times were getting hard. And my mom was like, maybe we should go back home. And I said, Mom, no, we can't let, that happen. We can't let Gran be right. And if I hadn't talked my mom into let's tough it out, we would have been back in Gary, and there's no telling where my life would have been, how it would have been, or whatever. But I just didn't want to go back. There was nothing there. And she was just amazed that I was able to still keep my grades up. And it was rough. I mean, getting up early, in the shelter, you have to get up early so that you can be transported to another area and just sit outside and wait in the cold until the shelter opened. That was rough. That was one of the roughest periods of my life. But we toughed it out. We toughed it out. And my grandmother said, hey, do you want to come back? I'll pay for you to come back and finish your senior year in Gary. And I was gung ho. I know you're like, why are you? Because I wanted to go back and graduate my friends. I had to grow up too. That was my journey. The first year here in 85 to 86 was my journey to growing up. My friends had to grow up and they welcomed me with open arms when I came back. So it was like everything was different now. It was different.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you went back to Gary?
Yes, I went back my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
I only stayed here 1 year, and then I went back and came back after I graduated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did you get back?
Because I had that connection with my kids' dad. I wasn't pregnant or anything, but I had my boyfriend in Atlanta, let's put it that way. And my mom, of course. So I was like, yeah, I'm going back to Atlanta so that I can go to college. I didn't want to go to college in Gary, Like I said, the only thing in Gary was my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And she was sad when I left again, but she knew that, hey, we were going to come visit and all this stuff. But I had to go back. I wanted to be with my kid's dad and my mom and go to college.
So then I know that didn't work out. You had two kids. And I was interesting how your ex-husband served you divorce papers. I think, but you were going through so many things and you weren't even paying attention to that because you were so focused. You're focused in getting things done. And so you had some options at that time. Mm-hmm. And one of them wasn't quitting, right?
Yes, that's right.
So how did that turn out with your ex and your two kids?
I got served, as you had mentioned, and I was like, no, he didn't. I'm not getting into all the specifics because I felt like I was the one that should have been serving him. But
he beat you to the punch, didn't he?
Yes, So I was like, okay,
all right.
And I mean, I was like, I'm enjoying my time in culinary school, and I had this little disruption, a little hiccup, if you will. So I had to go through that and stuff and talk to my chef and let him know that, hey, he worked with me.
There's so many things you went through during that period of time when your goal was to graduate. What made you not quit?
I just refused to quit. That quitting wasn't an option. I mean, you know how you come this far? I'm like, hey, I still, it's like a few quarters, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, I'm almost there, baby. Let me keep going, So I just hung in there. I mean, there were plenty of times that I had guys that were interested in dating with me. And I was like, well, hey, I can date after the semester's over, quarter or whatever. If they were still waiting, then we could date. But some people were like, oh, ain't nobody that busy that you can't call and text. But I'm focused. You
had boundaries, Sonya.
Yeah.
You had boundaries.
Yes. I love it. I love that.
A lot of people don't think about it, but so many people don't realize what boundaries are. But when you make a decision, and that's a boundary, and you communicate that. Yeah. And these people were trying to get you to coerce you or manipulate you into doing things, make you feel bad about the decisions that you make, and you stood firm because you knew what you wanted. A lot of people can't stand firm and they question their own decisions because they're not confident in the decisions that they make.
That's
And
right.
you were confident and you knew what you were working towards, and you knew that whatever they were offering you weren't buying. Sorry, it doesn't fit in with my plan. And plus, you just got out of going through a divorce. It's like, I, and here's the thing about boundaries is that a lot of times people say they don't know what boundaries to set. You know what boundaries to set based on what you don't want, based
Mhm.
on the experiences that you had, and your thing is, I'm not going through that again. So then that's how you stuck to the boundaries, girl. That's how you stuck to them. And that's a reason. The other thing was, quitting is not an option for you. When I came to this networking meeting, you were sitting down on the stool and you never got up. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, wow. Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, if you can go through that, you can go through other stuff. I mean, because I had an accident in 1990.
Hmm.
I'm in my 20s, car accident. And who would think that being hit from behind, that you're going to have some issues down the line, especially if you don't continue to go to chiropractic care. Now, I went to the chiropractor because that was part of the package of, with most accidents that you can go there. Never heard about chiropractic care until then. After I started feeling better, I stopped going, right? So years go by, you age and you go through stuff. These bodies get worn and torn and all this. And you just keep pushing on, oh, that little ache and pain. We're women, right? We women, we're gonna struggle through. The doctor said I didn't need surgery yet because it wasn't that bad. It was just hip bursitis, right?
Mm.
So I just continued on, and I had spoken to somebody, but she became my client. I used to be in life insurance, and she said, hey, have you thought about going to a chiropractor? You really should go to this chiropractor. She is phenomenal and all this stuff. You need to, you know, do that as opposed to what these doctors are saying. And I was like, hey, I'm listening. I'm listening now because, again, I had heard about it in my 20s, heard about it a little bit throughout the years, but it didn't just like click. That's what you need to do. So I said, let me go ahead and give her a chance. Let me give her a chance. Loved her, still love her, my chiropractor, Dr. Ashley. And she told me, hey, some things are going to happen in your body. It's going to take time. You didn't get like this overnight and stuff. And I was like, okay, I got you. I hear you. So when she did her magic on me, I'm moving around, everything's great and stuff. But it also woke up some things. So now your body's
Mm.
getting ready to start healing. And oh my gosh, yes, things just started going downhill. And I think I'm trying to remember if I met you before I had my Harvest Praise party or
It was
after.
after. It was after
Okay, so I had my Harvest
because I
Praise party.
because I wasn't invited.
No, say
Well,
that.
I
You
believe
were
it was
totally
after.
invited.
It was after.
So I had my Harvest Praise party, and I remember going back into the kitchen, and I could not get up. I was in so much pain. My situation was just going downhill. I had to go to a doctor to finally get, not that she wasn't a doctor, and they explained to me, orthopedist, that I now had hip bursitis, sciatica, and SI joint degeneration.
Really, you were debilitated for a couple years with that from something that would happen to you in your 20s.
Yeah.
And it just went through the process for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even in the midst of all that, Sonya, you were still a leader. You still had your business, and a couple businesses you were still doing, but you didn't let that stop you. What is one word that you say would describe you for all who you are? What would that be?
Well, this one just popped in my head as you were asking me that because I had planned to, what is it? Determination. It would have to
Mm,
be determination.
determination. That's good.
Yeah, I'm
Tell me why.
determined to make it work.
Whatever it is, you're gonna if you put your mind to something, you make a decision, determination, no
Yes.
matter what.
Yes.
So options for you moving forward in 2025.
Oh, wow. I'm looking for a place for King Creations PCS. I don't know where God wants to put me, but before 2024 hit, I said, Lord, I'm ready for a home for my business. Instead of going to shared kitchens and stuff like that, I'm ready. I believe I'm ready. I enjoyed that the profits I had made that year. I said, wow, imagine if I had a storefront and I could really have people come to me, get those caramel pecan clusters
Mm.
year round, as opposed to, because now it's hot outside and I'm transporting this and hoping it doesn't melt.
Well, this has been great. So, if there were anything that you would tell people that were thinking of quitting something that they're doing, what message would you give to them?
Well, other than don't quit.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, but it's so hard. I've just been going through so many things, and I don't see why I would even continue. So I'm just, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, well, what if you're so close? Maybe you can't see it, but maybe you're so close. Some of us have probably seen that meme where the miner is chipping away, and then all of a sudden he just goes away. But we could see that he was
Mm.
almost there. So just keep plucking away. Don't stop. Don't give up. You're gonna have those days when it's gonna be rough. It's going to be like, why am I doing this? And then you'll wake up the next day, you'll be like, oh, now I know why I'm doing this.
Hmm.
And just keep going. I mean, I tell you, my business has evolved over the years. If somebody had ever told me I was going to be an author, and especially an author of something other than a cookbook,
I know, right?
yeah, because I mean, I was like, really, Lord, write that book? My pastor was like, yeah, why not? Some people need to know what you're going through
Hmm.
so you can help
Hmm.
them through that. Because he always
Hmm.
says, it's not about us. It's not about us.
Hmm.
So, I mean, there's so many hats that I have learned to wear over the years. Just keep pushing. And then we all have a book in us. And as you continue to go on, and, like Pam and I were talking earlier, God he must think I'm strong for me to go through some of the stuff I'm going through, you know, because it's true though. I love Dale Bronner. I love my pastor, Charles Young, and his wife, Debbie Young. They're my foundation. And the things that they've said, it helps me. It girds me up. The Lord is the one that he uses them to help me. And it's never about us. It's about helping other people through our journey, because when we go through stuff, when you see strong people, that means that they have gone through some things. you know you may see, when people just all of a sudden you see this their successful side, you don't know the middle.
That's right.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
right. What they've been through to get there, what
Yes.
God has brought them through.
Yes.
And, the Bible says, count it all joy when you experience trials.
Yes.
Because, and I'm just paraphrasing, of course, from the Bible, but that means we should be joyful because he's chosen us to go through it. And to
Yes.
your point, Sonya, it's not for us, it's for someone else. So when we quit, there's people out there that's counting on
Mhm.
us to do the
Yes.
things that God has blessed us to do, and they're going to miss out on that.
Yes. And I definitely don't want to put that spirit on my kids and my grandkids. That's that quitting spirit. I don't want them to quit. Hang in there.
Oh, because
Yeah.
someone's watching you.
Hmm.
You're being an example for someone, so don't quit. And lastly, I think it's important that you share with them how important it is, if they do feel like quitting, to get with some other people through networking that can help to encourage them and inspire them, because they may feel like, well, I've been doing this, and as entrepreneurs, sisterpreneurs, that I'm not making any money doing this. So what are some of the suggestions you could give or advice you can give to them on that?
It definitely helps to be with like-minded professional women, because mama and them don't know, your friends don't know what you've been through. They're just going to tell you, oh, girl, just go, it ain't working yet. Just going to do something else, going to get that job and things, whatever. They don't know. Don't let them put, their whatever on you. Okay.
That's good.
You just hang in there and just keep pushing on. But the magic happens when you're with other women that have been there and done that, and they're gonna tell you, no, here, this is what you can do, or you can go over there, because they know about grants or loans, or small loans that could help you get that what you need in your business or something like that, or maybe go over here for this or that, different things. I can't think of all the stuff, but they know. Mom and them don't know. They just want their baby to be okay. I don't like you struggling like this and stuff like that. And make your haters your motivators.
Oh, make your haters your motivators.
Yes, I know it's cliche, but honey, there are people that are watching you. And I just had this conversation with my oldest grandson today. I said, you realize that people watch you? They don't comment on your posts. They may not even like or whatever. But then all of a sudden you'll hear them say, hey, what about that product that and I'm like, oh, you saw it? And I'm saying to myself, but you don't like my posts or whatever, So people are watching you, or as my friend in Indiana, Kim, says, they're stalking you. They're stalking you, but they're not commenting, because, some people, they're just waiting. How long is she going to continue to do that? Some people do secretly wonder, when is it going to all come crumbling down, crashing down. It's true. It is true. But don't give them that satisfaction. Keep going. Let them see your face in their news feed, And then here's something else. I love that Dale Bronner said, Bishop Dale Bronner, he said to, and being invisible is a superpower. You don't have to put all your personal stuff out there. Just post your wins. How about that? They ain't got to know that, oh my gosh, my car broke down today. When I see some posts that people post, I'm sitting up here like, phone a friend. Phone a friend. You could have phoned a friend. Don't put that out there, because there's some people like sitting up there eating my caramel clusters like, oh, I knew it was going to happen.
Exactly. Just waiting for it to happen. Yeah, eating yours. Yes. That's right. Yeah, but they say success is the best revenge.
Yes.
For people, and people are watching you. That is such a good point. Give them something to talk about.
That's right.
Don't quit. So, Sonya, tell me how people can find out about your King Creations, about your book, and your networking group. We got 3 things to talk about. If you want to add anything else, please do.
Well, I make it easy for people because I like to keep it simple, Sonya. Okay.
Keep it simple, Sonya.
Yes, you can follow me on all social media platforms at King Creations PCS, Creations with a K. I always stress that. And my website is King Creations PCS as well.
Okay. All right. And your book, they can get your book from there as well, right?
Yes. When you go to my website, the drop down will take you to the Amazon link.
Okay, good. And as far as your women's networking group, you as a leader of South Fulton in Atlanta are always open to having new women come and be a guest at your networking. So I will go ahead and put some information in there. So if they are interested, a link so they can go to your link to find out how to come and visit you and be a part of the women's network of XC.
Yes.
Experience Connections.
Yes, we would love to have you, love on you, and help push you up, because I'm from the train of thought that, when you make it up there, come back and grab some couple of hands and bring them up too.
If you're not in the Atlanta area, you're somewhere else in the country, Sonya also has virtual meetings throughout, maybe once a month or something like that. And there's a number of women that are on there that are entrepreneurs that would love to meet you and help you, to support you in whatever it is that you're doing. So That'd be good. Well, Sonya, this has been great. Thank you for being a part of Let's Talk Boundaries. I know we went all over the place, but the bottom line is quitting is not an option. It's not an option for you. It's not an option for me. And I hope it's not an option for anybody else that's out there. And you need some support. You just got through talking to the girl that can help you with it, and that's Sonya. And if you get a chance to order some of her popcorn or her chocolates, in particular the caramel chocolate, what is it?
Caramel pecan clusters.
Caramel
Don't
pecan
worry,
clusters.
I'm getting ready to change that name soon.
I can't wait to hear that. It's going to have PAM in there somewhere. No. I'm just saying. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and close out. Any final words, Miss Sonya, for our guests?
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward. There you go.
Yes.
Well, all righty. We are so happy to have you with us. And make sure that you subscribe to this channel for Let's Talk Boundaries, because it wouldn't be awful if we had one of these calls, one of these meetings, one of these interviews, and you missed it. And it was just what you needed to hear. So make sure you subscribe and like and share with other people you know will benefit from this information that we're sharing. This is Pamela Bird, your boundaries coach, and let's talk boundaries, shall we?